It's often said that there are some specific criteria for canonicity. Did an apostle write it or one of their colleagues?
Yeah.
Does it contain orthodox teachings? Was it widely accepted? And some other criteria.
Yeah.
Um, are these criteria spelled out somewhere, or are they inferred from the literature that was accepted?
Well, some of them are spelled out. If an apostle wrote it and it was believed to have been written by an apostle, it's in. And the same thing with widespread use. And the first church father that mentions this is Origen. He went with widespread use. And later, Eusebius, who had Origen's library, he says exactly the same thing. And that's where he has the homolegumena, widespread use. And that's his first criterion that he uses. And you'll find that also in Origen in his On Christian Doctrine, and also in the City of God volumes. He says, if there's a text and you have a question, if nobody else cites this, then don't get to it. That's his point. If everybody else is using it, maybe that's one you should read instead of one that isn't read by too many other people. So those two stood out. I put in orthodoxy as something that was broadly understood. If what was taught in the earliest churches, the core traditions of Christianity, are not found in some of the literature, then it has to be excluded. Or if something is contrary to that, it has to be excluded. I include 2 Peter because its core teachings are very much like the core teachings of early Christianity, though I don't think Peter wrote it. I think it's a second century document. But it does fit within that tradition, and if there were doubts, they always checked with the orthodoxy, and that's why I've said there could have been no canon of Scripture before Nicaea. Nicaea focused on the identity of Jesus. How do you have a Christian New Testament canon that doesn't have a clear concept of who Jesus was? So the writings that cohered with the earliest teachings about Jesus are the ones that were welcomed, and all of the canon lists begin to appear, almost all of them. There's a few exceptions. Irenaeus had 4 Gospels, those 4 and no more, and the Origen has some lists of the Jewish scriptures, but also some that he used, and he even used some of the deuterocanonical books as well. But they couldn't have come to a clear understanding of a Christian New Testament without some agreement on who Jesus was. After that, then you start seeing canon lists and local canons. None of them are ecumenical, by the way. There's no ecumenical council that dealt with the biblical canon. It was always like the council at Laodicea, 360. There was one at Rome, 382. Carthage, 393, 397, 419. There's several of those that begin to emerge, but they're all local. Of the 7 ecumenical councils, not one dealt with the scope of the Scriptures.